get started today with Sister Nancy, please.
Thank you so much. I'm Sister Nancy Usman and from Pauline Media. So,
Hello.
thank you.
Hi.
Greetings. Thank you so much for this wonderful film. And it was so fabulous to experience this several times since I saw it at Sundance. But my question for you, Daniel, is what do you feel was at the core of the relationship between Leo and Ruby? What value was really stirring that relationship?
That's a really good question. Between Leo and Ruby, they had a strong connection. Leo was deaf, Ruby is the CODA, and I mean, just growing up, the family. I mean, I think family is really underneath everything, no matter what. Their brother and sister, they love the family, they support each other. They're figuring out what's best for them both and for the family as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steve, go ahead. Steve Norton, please.
Hello.
Sorry, my audio cut out there for a minute. Steve Norton from Screenfish. Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much. What a wonderful, wonderful film and a wonderful performance. It's just beautiful. I was wondering. Thank you. I was just wondering what it is that you connected most deeply with about Leo as a character.
Well, I definitely did have strong connection. I feel like we were both strong, deaf people. I don't want to be pitied. I don't need your sympathy. I'm a human being. I'm strong. I can do, I just happen to be deaf. But I mean, my first language is ASL. I love sign language. I mean, I love who I am. And I mean, I'm deep in deaf culture. I feel like I have a lot in common with Leo. We're both strong men. So I feel like, and just in that term, very similar.
Thank you.
Kenneth, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Kenneth Moorfield from Arts and Faith. A little while ago, Marlee Matlin spoke about having to differentiate between what she, Marlee, would say or how she would react to a situation from how Jackie responds. There were any scenes in the film where you experienced the same thing, where maybe Leo responded in a way differently, common situation, than you would respond?
In most of the scenes, I felt like pretty on board with what Leo was doing. Me as Daniel, I related to that. I mean, there were some small differences because, how do you relate to the situation having a CODA in the family? That's a little bit different than my personal experience, but overall, in most of the film, I felt right on board with Leo, yeah.
Stephen Humphries, please.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Great, thank you.
Hi.
In this movie, the family makes a lot of fun of each other. It's their way of communicating. They roast each other. They tease each other. I wondered, is that so that they could develop a tough skin for being out in the world when others might mock them?
That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. I think just the joking and the teasing is just the family dynamic. And before we started filming CODA, I already knew Marlee and I already knew Troy, my co-stars. So we had a relationship prior to filming, and it was really great. The three of us were in this movie together, and we became a family. But we already had that chemistry, before we started. And actually, Troy is a really silly guy. He is a jokester like crazy, and we actually were, roommates while we were filming CODA. And I mean, it just grew from there. We got a father-son dynamic where we were just joking with each other, and then Marlee got involved in it. So I feel like it was just a natural family dynamic. And I think lots of regular families do that too. They joke around with each other, just to build a relationship, to be friendly with each other, to bond. If we do that, I mean, I think that's just a good thing, just good chemistry. And I think it really made the movie good too.
Patrick, go ahead.
Thank you. Such an honor, such a terrific film. You're amazing. And if you use Tinder in real life, I hope you have better luck than I do.
Thank you. Yes, I do need some good luck on Tinder. Yes, thank you.
One of my favorite scenes is when Leo tells Ruby, kind of tells her off, says, you have to go to school. You can sing that special, and talks about says, let them learn how to deal with deaf people. In that moment, I feel we see that there is a lot more to Leo as a person than we've necessarily been giving him credit for at that point. And I found myself, as I just watched the film for the third time, thinking there is a version of this where Leo is the protagonist, not Ruby. Would you want to make that film the Leo's story?
I mean, thank you. Of course, I would love to do this. I mean, in terms of Leo being the lead role, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the movie's called CODA, and I feel like, the attention's where it needs to be. It's kind of the CODA experience. And Emilia is so good. She's such a great actress. I mean, I just round of applause for her, certainly. But of course, I mean, if there was another role, certainly I'd be happy to explore it. But I don't think I would want to change anything with CODA that we've made. I love it as it is. I love the story. I love what we've shown. So I'm actually very happy with it.
Thank you.
David, go ahead.
Hi, David Stark from Watcher Pass. Thank you so much for your time. I loved reading in your bio that you have, activities outside of acting, especially the Deaf Gamers Network. And I've played games online with deaf players, and with
have,
text to
really?
speech, and with keyboards, it's different, but still a very fun experience. I was wondering if you thought that technology might alleviate some of the isolation that is depicted in the film, allowing kind of the deaf community to connect more, regardless of geographic location.
Wow. Oh my God. I'm so glad you asked that question. Yeah, I'm a total gamer. And I mean, what you asked is the exact reason why I set up the Deaf Gamer Network, DGN, right? I mean, literally that exact reason. When I set that up, originally started like as a Facebook group when I was in college. And I got an Xbox 360 at the time, and it was really hot. Halo 3 was the big game at that moment. So I wanted to play with other deaf players, and I'm thinking, how can we connect? Social media, right? Like Facebook. I mean, that's, it was such a nice option for us. It's right there. And, deaf people can find each other, connect online. And you're exactly right. I looked at video games as a huge benefit for the deaf community because so many deaf people out there, I mean, in the world are alone. Maybe they don't know anybody else, but they can connect with friends online. And online makes everything so easy. You can do FaceTime or video calls, play online. You can get ASL access like through video calls and just like socialize. And a lot of this stuff is based on games. I think games are a huge benefit for the deaf community.
Thank you.
Oh, also, wait. We have been talking about, we want of course, improvements in technology. For example, Call of Duty. It's the most popular game in the deaf community. Honestly, it's our #1 game. We all love being competitive with each other. I mean, we have like deaf clans, but we have such a hard time playing against hearing clans because you've got like headphones on, right? You can hear the footsteps or you can hear gunshots, like the ambient noise in the environment. That's great, but for deaf players, we don't have that audio information. If you look at Fortnite, what Fortnite's doing, they have visual effects that go on top of the sound effects. For example, if somebody's walking in Fortnite, you'll see like the location of the footsteps on the screen, or like if someone's shooting, you'll see that. That's amazing. That is a huge benefit to the deaf community. And in fact, I mean, you probably already know that one deaf gamer who became a pro is so famous right now. She's such a great player because she had that visual information, that access to the information. We really want that to be added to Call of Duty and other games, especially Call of Duty, though, because it's so popular in the deaf community. So yes, it would be great. I want to talk about this more. I really want to advocate for this, and we need more technology advancements.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Dean, go ahead.
I am Dean Rogers with the Rogers Review. I am so glad you are part of this amazing film. I must admit, I cried at the very end of the film. And to say that is the most rewarding aspect as an actor is amazing. And I read that you attended Gallaudet University here in Washington, D.C. I'd like to know what led you to become an actor, and what is a dream role that you would love to play one day in your career?
Okay. So I didn't really have the intention of becoming an actor. I mean, I did love being an actor ever since I was 9. I got into a deaf and hard of hearing teacher who was with me at mainstream school. Actually wrote a play for me, and they directed it, and they put me in it, and I loved it. I was about 9, and I wanted to do more, but I didn't think about this as like my career or a job or anything like that. It's just not until much later, until I was maybe in high school, maybe my senior year. And so I started thinking about maybe doing acting. Got to college, and I was going to originally go into IT, work on computers and stuff. But then I realized, it's more of a hobby. I mean, I love technology. And in fact, the question just before this question was a technology question. So I love that. But I realized, I need to study more. But I decided, no, at the time, I'm going to put some stuff up on YouTube. So I did some ASL stories, ASL jokes. That's like the deaf community's communication, but to share this culture with each other online. I do some ASL on social media. So I decided I was going to do that, put up some vlogs, and that was where I started to grow a fan base when I hit YouTube. One manager who was based in LA saw me on YouTube, got in touch with me, and then ever since, here I am. And as far as the dream role for the future, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I just want to do more. I want to do more. I'm open to anything right now. I mean, I hope that after you see me in CODA, I mean, I am a deaf actor, but I want you to look at me as just an actor.
And you are a brilliant actor. Thank you so much for your performance.
Thank you.
Sister Nancy, back to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so Daniel, what would you hope that, most audiences get out of this, especially for showing the deaf community in such a way? What would you hope that they draw from this movie, especially?
I want them to feel like really touched. I want them to feel heartfelt emotions, laughter. I want them to, see the humor in what we're doing. I want them to enjoy the ASL, of course, and how the CODA in the family has to kind of interpret. I mean, I want them to see all these things. But it's really a family movie. I mean, yeah, we are deaf actors, of course, but I want them to get the family feeling, the family emotion.
Steve, back to you. Steve Norton, back to you.
Sorry, I'm having all sorts of audio issues and all that.
No worries.
Sorry. Daniel, I was wondering, from your perspective, maybe you can talk a little bit about how stories about deaf culture and the deaf community have changed over the years. We've seen several great examples, even in the last 2 years, ranging from A Quiet Place to Sound of Metal to more. I was wondering how you think that's changed and where it needs to go.
Well, good question. Good question. I have noticed that there are more deaf actors showing up. I mean, for sure, there's more opportunities lately. And I mean, to get to the point of the question about ASL stories and stuff, I do feel like it's changing. I mean, back in the day, we, you know, deaf people didn't have these opportunities. So like we would get together wherever we could, at a bar, at a campfire, anywhere. And that's where we would share our culture. But now we have so much technology and opportunity. Like we have vlogs. I mean, hearing people have blogs with a B, but deaf people have vlogs with a V, where we put up videos and we kind of have the equivalent. So like that's really helped us share our culture and stories. But specifically, to talk about deaf roles coming up, I do see more roles coming up, and I'm really happy about that, of course. But they are the same kind of roles. Like, for example, maybe a deaf character will pop up in like 1 or 2 episodes in a series, but then they're gone. And we want to see something more substantial. I'd love to see somebody get a big role, like a leading role, or to carry a film. I mean, something like that would be great. So I want to see that change for the future.
Great. Thank you so much.
Kenneth?
You spoke a little bit earlier about knowing Marlee and Troy before the film, and I couldn't help but reflect on the scene in which Leo says, "We were a family before you came along." Do you think that pre-existing relationship helped inform your performances, not just with Marlee and Troy, but also with Emilia?
Huh. I believe so. I believe so. I mean, of course, we were friends, we worked together before and all that. But once we started CODA, I mean, we were all very passionate and super excited to be able to work together for this film. We did lots of discussions. We really examined our characters closely. And I even was roommates with Troy during the filming. So we really developed our father-son relationship that you see on film. We had a really strong connection. And during break times when we're not filming, we would talk about a scene and we'd say what that looked like and we just talk about the different emotions. So, I mean, having that chemistry already helped. But in terms of how Ruby and Emilia, the actress, I mean, she's such a unique actress. I've never seen anyone like her before. She just came in, open-minded, really excited to work with us, wanted to learn about ASL, curious about everything. And Marlee, took her to her house. We went over there. We had many dinners with Marlee, and Emilia would often be there. We'd just be chatting. And she got a firsthand look at what deaf culture was like. So we brought her in to show her that. And she herself just kind of took off with it. So I feel like what the character she developed, I mean, it was great. I don't know how it's possible that she did that. I mean, I don't know how difficult it is to change a British accent to American accent, plus to learn sign language, plus to learn how to sing, and all these things in one role for her. I mean, that's like a huge ask for her. And she did it. But I feel like, I mean, really, when you get down to it, it was the right people. Everybody was hungry and passionate about this project, and we eventually became a beautiful team.
Stephen, back to you.
Hello from Boston again. And I loved how CODA tells a story of great resilience under challenging circumstances for this family. What is the source and the wellspring of that perseverance for your character, for the other characters? What have you learned about resilience in your own life and career?
You just have to believe in yourself, right? Like you just have to know what you're good at, what your true skill is, and just don't stop. I mean, a lot of people are going to say you can't. There's going to be a lot of can'ts, but you just have to keep going. You just feel that fire inside and just follow your passion. I mean, me personally, I mean, I love to act. Troy loves to act, and despite the barriers, we never give up. I mean, maybe sometimes we'll go for a dry stretch with opportunities. We'll find something else. We'll use our skills in a creative way. I mean, Troy directs sometimes. I've been doing workshops and teaching. So, I mean, I think the most important thing is just to find that passion and believe in yourself. Just keep going. Yeah, and also it's important just to know where your skills are, really.
Thank you.
Patrick?
Thank you. And I forgot to say before, I'm Patrick Gibbs from Slug Magazine. That's Salt Lake Underground Magazine, Salt Lake City, Utah. So, Daniel, you do have an impressive stage background. And as somebody who grew up doing theater, and I've been a theater teacher before, it really struck me that I believe, and have for a long time, that there's kind of a kinship between stage acting and ASL, in that both of them rely heavily on things such as hand gestures, big facial communication expressions, eye contact. All of those are integral to both of them. Do you have any thoughts on that, and how it might come into play for you as an actor?
Yeah, I love this question. This is a good one. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, definitely grew up doing a lot of stuff on stage, and I agree with what you said. I mean, I haven't really thought about it in the way that you brought it up, but now that you bring it up, I mean, I think you're exactly right. Like, it's interesting because starting out on stage, strong stage background, and the experience of stage on TV is totally different. I can use my full energy on stage, do big signing, big facial expressions, make sure that everybody all the way up to the back row can see me and feel that energy and get my presence out there. And I want to touch everybody in the audience. But when you do like a movie, totally different. The camera is like so close to you. You got to make sure you're in the space. You're not signing too big so your hand goes out of frame. Be aware of that. You have to control your energy, control your facial expressions because you're so close. Much different than on stage when you got to just be big. Everything goes big. Big voice, big presence. So much smaller on TV. So yeah, I think you're exactly right. Yeah. Also, in terms of filming, you have specific marks when you're like doing a movie, and the blocking is really set. But on stage, sometimes you can use a whole space. You can sign, move around, and everything. So it feels like ASL is a good fit for that. But it is pretty interesting. I was talking with one person, Marlee and I were in Spring Awakening a while ago on Broadway, and there were people in the hearing audience who watched Spring Awakening, and it's a musical, and so we had deaf actors and hearing actors both in the cast, and the hearing people would sing, the deaf actors would do sign language for that production. So the audience really liked it because it was like a visual element plus the beautiful music that was for the audio side of things. They were getting like 2 times the stimulation at the same time. So I thought that was really interesting. I think it really brings a big benefit.
Thank you.
And David, back to you.
Thanks. One of the things I loved about this film was just seeing this family in their day-to-day life and how they, just kind of navigate everyday life challenges. I liked the light alarm, the flashing light alarm, and then seeing Frank and Jackie in the truck booming rap music because they could hear the bass. So I'm guessing my question is, what kind of music do you like? Do you listen to music based on the vibrations, or is there something that draws you to music or something along those lines?
I do love listening to music, but it is the vibrations, right? Like you saw that scene in CODA that you mentioned, where they're in the truck and he's just going off about the bass, and it's really true. Um, Troy and I both are really profoundly deaf. Some deaf people can hear a little bit, and they can maybe identify some music. But for example, me and Troy, super profoundly deaf. All we can feel is vibrations, so we don't really care what kind of music it is. For example, while we were filming CODA, we rented a car, and we would always just like crank it up like max volume, and because just to get into character, and because we're both deaf, just feeling that vibration. And we went to go, pick up Marlee and other people, and one of the interpreters came in. They're like, "This is a Christian music station. Why are you guys listening to this?" And we had no idea. We didn't even know what it was. It was just like booming. This bass was just thumping, but I guess it was Christian music. We had literally no, and we didn't care. The important part was the vibrations on it.
And lastly, we'll finish with Dean, please.
All right. My last question to you is, what advice would you give for any upcoming actor based from your experience and your career?
I would say just get involved. It doesn't matter if you have a school play or, any kind of play, or, if there's nothing around, maybe just create something for yourself. Maybe like, film yourself on your phone, get creative, do whatever, make your own short films, funny films, or whatever you like play to your strengths, whatever it is that you like to do. Start there. But the important thing is to show your passion. Like, if you have an audition, go to audition. Go to as many auditions as you can. Just keep going and don't stop. That's the advice I would give. Oh, also,
Thank you.
also, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to become successful. So just remember that. Just stay hungry, stay passionate, stay strong, keep going, don't give up, but you will eventually get there. I mean, who knows when, right? Sometimes it's a lot further down the road than other people. Some people get success really early. It really depends. You never know. But I do know it's never too late to become an actor.
Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us. That's all the time we have.